regulations on comic books? I can't believe it. My parents gave me a whole lecture about how rebellious and negative our generation is. It's ridiculous.
I know, my parents say the same thing. That's all they ever talk about, besides trashing the Russians about this Cold War thing.
Well, anyways, are you ready to go to the movies?
Oh, sorry, Deb, I can't go to the cinema tonight. My parents are forcing me to watch the presidential debate. They're making it out to be a huge deal.
The presidential debate on television? You mean you can watch the candidates live?
Yeah, it's the first televised live debate. I think the two candidates are Nixon and Kennedy, something like that.
That's crazy. I've never heard of a live televised debate instead of game shows or funny shows. Maybe I'll rush home and watch too.
I don't know, Deb. I'm just not into that. How important can one debate be anyway?
Honey, this is so cool. Tonight is the first televised presidential debate.
Oh yes, I know. I can't wait to hear what the candidates have to say.
When I was a kid, my family didn't have television. In the 1930s, one of our family friends who was very wealthy had one. We would always go over and huddle around the small screen television, watching the blurred black and white images. Then production ceased for a while because the government wanted to focus on World War II production efforts of weapons, although those who already had television could see all the pro-war propaganda going on.
Grandma, how did you hear what the presidents had to say without a television? This seems so convenient. How did you know who to vote for when you didn't watch the debate?
Well, I remember my favorite president was Franklin Roosevelt, who used to do fireside chats. It was a little bit like the televised debate, but Roosevelt would come on the radio at night and the whole family would gather around and listen to what he had to say. But now, much more people have television, and we can see what the presidents look like too. Plus, we are all hooked on our favorite shows, like the one with that silly girl. What's it called? I Love Lucy!
When Fanny, Margot's grandmother, compared Franklin D. Roosevelt's fireside chats with the first televised debate, she was making a very smart comparison. It boosted Franklin's approval ratings, just like the first debate pushed Kennedy ahead of Nixon in the race. Franklin used simple language and analogies that the American public could understand. Kennedy, similarly, was trained to speak and look into the camera to efficiently please the American people. Both of these presidents utilized new and modern forms of technology to reach the general American public. These new forms of communication between the White House and the people opened public knowledge of the current happenings in the presidential arena, as well as influencing the way future politics would be played out by creating a new medium of communication.
Shush, Grandma, the debate is on! Listen!
Sweetie, why don't you come sit over here with us? Wow, look how nervous Nixon looks.
Yeah, he looks really skinny and pretty sweaty. I mean, I guess what he's saying has some merit, and he does have a lot of political experience, but gosh, he looks awful.
Action.
Yeah, and look at Kennedy. I know he's a newcomer, but he looks so comfortable up there, and he sounds like he knows what to do. He looks so tan, calm, and confident.
Oh, calm down there, honey. But you're right. Kennedy definitely looks like he knows what he's talking about. I like him.
Well, I know who I'm voting for. The cute one.
The first televised debate made it important for presidential candidates to look healthy, collected, and well-dressed. Nixon's sweaty appearance during the live debate made it clear that looks did matter. They needed to make a good connection with the audience and portray good speaking skills in order to appeal to the citizens of the United States. This revolutionized the way American presidential elections are run and the media's role in influencing American politics. The debate opened doors for the average American to be more in tune with the presidential election, as well as broadened access to news. The technological boom of the post-war economy sparked consumers' wants for television, and the sudden popularity of the TV opened doors for the political game to reach the living rooms of the American family. Before 1960, television was primarily filled with game shows and comedic broadcasts. When the debate aired on September 26, 1960, the broadcast was one of the first televised events that was related to hard political news. After the debate, all presidential elections utilized television to reach the American viewers and debate on current topics of the time. The debate became a way for Americans to assess a candidate's ability to withstand political pressures and create a good image to represent the people. This still holds true today with the current political practices of the United States government. Historian Henry Steele Commager wrote a New York Times article expressing his distaste for this way of campaigning and connecting to the American people through media and viewer consumption. He says, "The TV debate is designed to corrupt the public judgment and eventually the whole political process. Either way, positive or negative, the first televised debate changed the way Americans consumed political information, as well as the way Americans became influenced by the media."
Action.
All right, Jack, my boy, we're gonna throw some makeup on you. The audience will love it. You're tall, tan, got the great jawline. Just show them those pearly whites. Send them a wink and they're yours.
Oh, I know this is a make or break moment in my campaign. 70 million eyes will be on me tonight.
You'll be great, sweetheart.
Well, that's right, Jackie. 88% of the American public has a television today. Everyone who's anyone will be watching this debate tonight, but you're prepared more than anyone for this. We quizzed you for hours yesterday while you were working on your beautiful tan up on the roof. You came yesterday, talked with the producers, and discussed exactly how the set and the cameras will be placed. You know, old Nixon was stuck in the hospital with a knee injury yesterday. Time to take care of this opportunity. It's a gift from God the Father.
Oh, Nixon, honey, would you like some makeup? You look a little pale. Maybe something to brighten up those cheeks? A little contour, perhaps?
I have been a politician my whole life. I'd like to think I naturally glow in the spotlight. Real men don't need contours.
Well, all right then.
Welcome to the first ever televised presidential debate. Tonight we welcome Vice President Richard Nixon and Senator John F. Kennedy to the podium for this very exciting event in American history, hosted by CBS. To begin our debate tonight, we will listen to the opening remarks from our two candidates. First off, Vice President Richard Nixon.
As Vice President, I have experience which is necessary to fill the shoes of the President. I will help the nation prevail against communism. I am the right man for the job.
Ready? Thank you, Mr. Nixon. And now, our remarks from Senator John F. Kennedy.
Thank you for having me. I may not be vice president, but my 8 years of experience as Massachusetts senator will help me lead this nation successfully and efficiently. Many Democratic presidents before me have shaped our nation to a free country filled with opportunities, and I plan to continue this pattern of hope and compassion. I hope to expand our freedoms to countries hidden in the shadows of communism. I will lead this nation to a life of service.
Now, our first question tonight concerns foreign affairs. Senator Kennedy, with communism looming in the distance, how do you expect to stop the storm?
While the tensions between us and the Soviets resulted from World War II, which divided Germany and raised the threat of nuclear warfare, threatening the well-being and safety of our world. Within the past 4 years, Soviet tanks and troops have crushed a democratic revolt in Hungary and threatened to run the Allies out of West Berlin. They stunned the world with the first successful space-orbiting satellite, Sputnik, which raised fears that the Soviets would quickly achieve military superiority in space. An American pilot of the U-2 was shot down and captured while spying on Soviet military installations. We can no longer ignore the Soviets' pressing power as it grows closer to us. Fidel Castro became a close ally of the Soviet Union. They've influenced China, Japan, and Korea. God knows who's next. By strengthening our economy and educational systems, we at home will be able to combat communism abroad. I feel freedom is what defines America, and freedom is what we need to protect.
Well said, Senator Kennedy. Any comments, Mr. Nixon?
I've been dealing with the Soviets while acting as vice president. We need to stop the spread of democracy. I mean communism from spreading before it's too late.
It's so hot in here. It's so hot.
Okay, the next question deals with domestic issues at home. Senator Kennedy, how will you improve the lives of everyday Americans?
I will not be satisfied until every American enjoys their constitutional rights. Whether they're black, white, Latino, every person deserves equality. Martin Luther King and I share a similar dream. Recently, he was convicted for a probation violation after participating in a sit-in in Atlanta. As soon as I heard, I contacted Coretta King and made calls that helped ease King's release on bail from the Georgia State Prison. We are locking up the wrong people in this country. In order to end the injustices, I will work day and night to terminate discrimination. When the fighting stops at home, we will be able to solve our problems abroad.
So, we've heard how you'll help at home. How do you plan on helping other countries abroad?
The Soviet Union has hundreds of men and women who are prepared to spend their lives abroad promoting communism. I propose a volunteer-based organization that aims at reaching our arms out to help other nations and promote our democratic values, not communism. Assimilation to native cultures will help provide an optimum opportunity to create sustainable living. Volunteers must have a sensitive understanding about the people and places they'll live in. We can no longer afford representatives who are ignorant of the language, culture, and politics of the nations that they help. These volunteers will endure training in order to help develop and improve the nation's lives, living standards, and the people inside it. I want to involve Americans more actively in the cause of global democracy, peace, development, and freedom. This worldwide outreach program will make the world and our home a better place.
I believe the Soviets are on the rise, but we can stop them. Senator Kennedy is relying too much on the federal government to stimulate the growth needed in America. His proposals made tonight will not result in growth, but the plans I advocated for will. With my experience, I will lead America into greatness once again.
I think the question before Americans, as they look at our country and world around them, is, are the goals identical for all Americans? If you feel that everything being done is now satisfactory, the power, the prestige, the strength of the United States is increasing in relation to that of the communists, then I encourage you to vote for the man next to me. But if you feel that the function of the president is to step before the people and take care of the unfinished business in our society, protect our freedoms, then I say the question before us is, will freedom or communists conquer? If we meet our responsibilities, historians will look back on this era and say, this is the place where the tide turned in. Now, here's the real question. What do you want this country to do? I think we are ready to move on to bigger and better things.
Thank you for joining us on our first televised debate tonight. It truly was a turning point in United States history.
Action.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Action.
Oh my goodness, did you watch the first televised debate last night? I'm officially in love with Kennedy and his policies.
Why? I thought you wanted Nixon to win.
Oh, well, I did. Until last night. I saw Kennedy and he just looked so put together. He's young, tan, well prepared. All of his answers were geared toward making our nation and the world a better place. He even wants to start this volunteer program that helps other countries. It didn't seem like he was nervous. Nixon, on the other hand, looked like a sweaty pig.
That's funny, because when I heard it on the radio, I thought Nixon did way better than Kennedy. His ideas were more concise, and he brought up some really good points. Plus, he has a ton of political experience.
No way! Nixon looked like a mess. He was sweaty, pal, and his shirt blended in with the background. I definitely don't want a president who looks like that. If he can't speak in front of a camera without looking like a farm animal, how is he going to speak in front of a nation?
I mean, looks don't really matter. It's about their political stances.
No way. If you saw Nixon, you would totally agree with me. How about you come over to watch the next debate on October 7th?
Okay, I guess watching it on TV might influence me a little bit, but I still think that Nixon has better policies and experience.
Oh, don't worry. You'll see how appealing Kennedy is when you watch the debate. It's a date.
Way, smack it in the air. Legs move it side to side, smack it in the air. Legs move it side to side, smack it in the air. Shoulder side.